So, walking to the store, and it's a lovely day. Clear blue skies. An hour or two ago, it was a lot of blizzard and very. Uh, it's still nice, but not as pleasant as this. Hasn't been a lot of wind, so you see a lot of more snow hanging in the on the trees, and that causes everything to be very quiet. So, I just walked through this old road. That's what we literally call it, the old road. And the reason for it is because some decades ago, this was really the only way you could go from my village that I live in over there to the village that I'm heading to. And I walked a little bit past it. Maybe you might see a white house over there. I used to actually live there. And then there's a house there that nobody lives in. And this is between the two villages. Now, when people wanted to walk between the villages, the school was in the village that I came from. So kids such as my father and his and my uncles, they had to walk this road here to reach the school. Now the total distance will be about I think it's 5-6 kilometers, give or take. I think it's 6, closer to 6. Anyways, so but then we got a new road which had asphalt so cars could drive on them, and then at the top of that mountain it's actually really nice. Sometimes I've been able to just see the ice just break off. Once I even saw a rock break off during springtime, seeped in with water, broke up the expanded, and then when it melted, it did nothing to hold it, and then the rock fell down. And incidentally, I was just messing around over there, doing forestry and whatever it is I used to do then, and I got to see it. I don't think we'll see it this year because we haven't had it consistent enough for ice to build up properly. So you might see some ice taps, and let's see if I can zoom in. So you might see some small, tiny little ice taps over there, but it used to be like a lot more. Anyways, enough about this rock. It's a great view, but it's also very windy up there. And depending on the route you take, the one I used to take was up there, where there was a lot of boulders. Unless you're used to walking through rugged terrain, I would not recommend it. But there's also a road up here, and I think I will keep on filming until I can show you that one, which is a lot more lenient. Anyways, moving on. One thing you will often come across when you walk this road is fox trails and sometimes occasionally moose trails. Now this may look like moose. I suspect this to be the fox because they jump like that very often, especially when there's deep snow. We also have rabbits, but they're significantly smaller and not so populated because we have a lot of fox. So now what you're seeing here, this little semi-truck that's already been here, that was made, I think it was a couple of days ago. Someone had a four-wheeler with a slight small plow and went through and took the worst of it. And then there's been some people walking, me included. That's why you see the foot tracks here. But it didn't take everything away. And the snow here is very fluffy and powdery. So you can still make snowballs out of it. It's just not going to have the same range as you usually could. Unless you spike it up with a few rocks or lead. That's what we used to do when we were kids. We had snow forts. And we made fortification and trenches along the deeper places. And then we have ammo dumps with pre-made snowballs until we commenced war. And generally speaking, we tried to just make snowballs as we could and try to store up like one during the assault had 2-3 snowballs made up on the during the approach. And then we'll bombard them. And then the defender would typically be able to fight us back because they had the stockpile. And so what we also did then was to see some beautiful sky, beautiful sky. So what we also tried to do, because we tried to expand our borders and we tried to make fortification closer and closer to the enemy base so we could besiege them. The base would be a big mountain of snow made by those who tried to push the snow away from the roads, and they had to pile it up somewhere. So we set our natural bases there. And so as we tried to expand towards each other, we ended up we also tried to kind of circumvent the fortification and throw snowballs at their ammo dumps and try to destroy their ammo dumps so they will be easier to assault them. Not to mention that we also had our ammo dumps closer, so that's when the fights really started getting intense. But at some point, sometimes I should say at some point, we did manage to besiege a fort sufficiently to have very intense fights. And then, so I'm going to go back to this thing regarding spiking it up with rocks. Of course, kids being kids, they easily harbor personal animosities towards each other. So more than once, it did happen that even though we had a rule, I actually made this. I just weaved it so it will have a little nice arc. Sometimes when we got really angry, wanted to rage quit, but instead we redirected that rage against someone we already didn't like. Whether they were at fault for whatever, it doesn't matter. We already didn't like them. So it was unusual for those of us kids who had a itch against one another. If things started getting really heated. Well, oh, I just accidentally got a few pebbles in my snowball. Sorry, I didn't mean to make that scratch on your face. Yeah. It was fun being a kid. We usually don't have oh, that track you see over there. Actually, let's see if I can get closer. Ooh, deep snow. Let's see. So that track you're seeing there, pretty sure it's not a person. Whoop. Yeah, this is a moose that has been traversing here. And it's not unusual. Further up there, I will show you. There will be I'll show you where the fuck all this getting snow in my shoe. There will be I'll show you where the moose tend to hang out, and I'll show you, even though you may not see the droppings and everything, you will still see the signs of them nibbling off the willows that were there, because they love willows. Now what do you see here? That was me too, a long time ago. But you see, it's starting to sprout up and has its own characteristic. And I met several of these, but many of them were cut down for a variety of reasons, ill-placed, not maybe well done. But this one, people who walk through, they seem to like it. So if you want to, oh, here's the sign of moose. They tend to scrape off the, this is a long time ago, you may see. They tend to scrape off the bark of various trees, but especially willow and rowan. And you see, this was actually done quite a while ago, because it's been able to regrow a bit. Now, if you wonder, am I concerned about moose? No, especially now when I'm talking. They are shy. They're usually friendly, and even when the bulls want to be very territorial, they will not be caring to be territorial against you. If they pull their ears that are usually up and they pull them back, and they get their head down to the ground while looking at you, you better find a tree to hide up. You will not survive a moose attack. But if let's say there was a moose up there, I suddenly saw it and it was looking at me, I would walk slowly away. I try to avoid eye contact, and I'll look down, still having an eye if he's following me or anything, and basically try to see, is there any tree or anywhere I can climb up? The prospects here are bad. I will aim for that big one over there. And they won't do you anything unless you pose a threat. So it's not the bulls you need to worry about. It's actually the cows, if they have calves. If you see a cow with a calf, do not approach. Do not approach. You go back. And usually they would also try to scurry away. But if you're quiet, if like now I'm filming, I'm talking, but if I was just walking, then they might not actually get it, especially in these snowy circumstances. I have a tendency of actually walking quietly. So it has happened that I've come across inadvertently. There would be like 20-30 meters crossing, not here, but other road, and they will be crossing, and also accompanied with a bull who stopped there, turned his head with big horns, looking right at me. Back then, I think I was like 14, 15, so you can imagine this little diapered human being me was scared as you know what. So I was looking for trees like that and everything. I still can climb it up. I could do it quicker then, but now I'm less confident. But I'm not too young to die, so what's the worry? Now, why did I stop here? Because I did want to actually point these one out. I only made those, and this one, and a few others. But other people were inspired, other people in the local community, and they decided to make these nice ones. They didn't make rails or anything, but I think this is nice. They drew inspiration from something I did on random, and you see, that's an example of something probably worthwhile considering. Look how lovely it is. Clear blue skies with snow, powdery snow indeed, which we haven't had much of this winter. It's been actually a lot of plus degrees. You see, we're getting closer and closer. They tend to be nibbling off those stems here because they like to eat the shoots, and they scrape their horns. And they don't only just scrape their horns just for the fun of it. They scrape their horns off also to eat it. And in the willow, you have some ascorbic acid. No, ascorbic acid. It's kind of the same as aspirin, so you sort of like pain relief as well. I mean, if you don't have anything better, that's the best. If you don't have anything better, use willow bark to get high. So, yeah. So there are often people walking up here because you have a brilliant view. But I'm not going to take the time because I gotta get drunk. Sure did ready cause I know just what I'm going to do. I start spending my money, call everybody honey, and I wind up singing the blues. I spend my whole paycheck on some old wreck, and brother, I can name you a few. Oh well, I gotta get drunk, and I sure do dread it, cause I know just what I'm gonna do. Woo! Oh, look at the bad weather coming up. Oh, good timing, because that makes me able to walk through all of the so-called old road, which we call it literally still the old road. I walk this path at least once a week to do shopping mostly because I can't stay sober. There's a lot of good people here in town. So see, here nobody cared to do anything. Nobody cared to walk, and it's been a week ago since I walked here. So, me be the snowplow. Whew. Which makes it heavy. But it's going to be easier when I come back, because then I'm going to have energy drinks called beer. And yeah, this shit is going to be stepped a little bit more down. See if I can get some more surroundings for you. There used to be some bigger trees here, but they chopped it down in order to get access. What it was hoping to do was access some wood. For firewood, that is. You sleazy, filthy Americans watching. Oh yeah, by the way, this is you walk up there to that fence, and then there is you zigzag a little bit up there, and you keep on going, and you get to the mountain there that I pointed out earlier, that is behind the house I used to live in. And it's a much more benevolent one. They did some forestry over there, but it's also quite difficult to try to get wood from behind the hill there, but it's in a crevice with a very steep and rugged terrain. I tried myself, and I'm pretty wild with an axe and shit, but I decided not. Too much work, too much risk. I skipped it. But that was a while ago. I mean, since they even considered doing some forestry over there. So they had, let's just say, forgotten. And in that process, there's actually a really big anthill. Let me show you. See, this is actually an anthill. They're sleeping tight right now. Now, one of the things I like doing here during summer and spring is when I come back by here, whether I'm going to the store and I need to take a piss, or I'm coming from the store and I need to take a bear piss, I piss at them because it's really fun. What they do, they freak out and they start pissing everyone. Everyone starts pissing indiscriminately in all directions, and you can smell the formic acid in the air. And it's good for something regarding something, but I cannot recall it right now. But it has something to do with increasing biological activity in the surrounding area as the formic acid dilutes, as well as making more minerals bioavailable. And then, of course, the piss has its nitrogen, so that also fertilizes. Now, you should have undoubtedly gathered at this point, I'm just coping. Just purely coping. I just need an excuse to piss at an anthill because it amuses me. Call me cruel if you want to. I used to have a lot of fun with ants. I actually took some entire ant hives, put them in an aquarium, then I connected them to a second world, which they could compete in. And then in that, I don't know, they did their thing. And there was occasionally I took actually in one that I would otherwise have hibernated. But instead of, there you can see the snow is actually quite deep here. Almost reaching, well, I guess it is reaching to my knee. So I would take them, let them hibernate, have them build their hives with eggshells, broken toothpicks, matchsticks. Fuck you. And again, this depressions are places where they tend to get more heavier. Sure, perhaps I've had skis for this, but fortunately I decided to go early because I could. I had a time, and so I am. Holy shit, this is gonna take me 4 hours. Video was supposed to last 10 minutes because it usually takes me 5 minutes to walk through this. I keep talking, I keep plowing, and you know, showing you how you can do it the easy way and the hard way. Well, maybe not the easy way, but hard way at least. And why you should take the easier way. I could have walked all around behind there, followed the road. But it's not safe regarding traffic. It's also much less pleasant, in part because of traffic. But you also lack a lot of the nice, pleasant calm of this area. I think there was actually once upon a time a well. That's a pile of rocks. And they tried to make a well out of it to kind of store off water that seeped down through the terrain and in there. But then they gave it up and they decided to just use it as a place to store rocks they weren't using for reinforcing on the side here and building the road further down, which will hopefully fucking shit. Sorry for the cussing, folks. It's very common up here. Let's see if I can just break myself through like Superman. I just Kopok. Oh, this place is nice, huh? So try not to get too much snow in my shoes. I did. Oh, please. Don't get it inside, please. Oh, well, it does not gonna matter. By the time I get drunk, I'm not gonna care if it's wet. You see, the power of beer. Now, the power of beer is that it's nice. It's good. Those who don't like it, I'm sorry for you. I just pity you. Not shaming, not blaming, not, whatever makes your life happy. But for me, beer is nice. Beer is good. Beer, I like it. Beer, I'll do. However, as many of you noticed, other beer lovers, is that there is a certain disadvantage with that. And that disadvantage is that it can be unhealthy, they say. Oh, you see, I got some shit in my head. Even though I have some sort of cover stuff. Way down here. This is supposed to be the cover. This one. Kinda did. It's not really that big of a deal. It's sort of like walking in the rain. But the problem is the distance I'm going to walk. Means that if I don't really pay much attention to it, even a well-walked person like me still stand a chance of getting a fair amount of blisters. So let's see, this should work. Okay. Since this video is going to take 30 minutes, so if you're bored with this walk and talk, then thanks for watching so far, if you did. Okay, where am I going? Ah, yes, we're proceeding the old road. And now it seems better, because now we don't have so much of a depression, so I can much more easily break it down. But further up there, holy shice, look how nice that looks. Nice. Let's see. So I had actually made rails along here, weaving trees of that size. Is some weaving, but that was meant to be support. But that was I pulled back because this wasn't nearly as wide. You could you would get branches on your face and stuff like that. So what I did, I just, instead of cutting down and stuff, I just weaved them on the side, so you kind of got rails. But then they wanted to get their four-wheelers. Their four-wheelers to be able to, I was gonna say, yeah, four-wheelers to be able to come here. So the size of trees you see here, the more thicker ones, like the one there, maybe. And plenty of those, but more similar to those. They were lining up actually all along the round here. So what you're seeing here, those little sprouts, they're actually what's called coppicing. When you, depending on the time of the year and the time of plant, tree, I mean, if you cut it down to the bottom, it will sprout up from the bottom with basically new trees. It has a well-established root system. This is a willow, I think. Most of these are willows. Yeah, that's a willow. And this is a birch. Now birches, if you take them during winter, they die. But they took it during summer, so now they're coppicing. Willows, it doesn't matter. They're hardy as hell. Did they use the wood that they cut down from here? Those fucking goddamn heathens. No, they didn't. I would have liked to do a lot with that wood. There's actually trees growing on that rock over there. So these boulders here, they fell quite a long time ago. And this is one of, as you may understand, one of the reasons they closed the road that I will show you very soon, because we're almost there. So these folks that were trying to come here, what they were kind of hoping for was that they would perhaps have slightly easier access to, look at that view, they would have slightly easier access to like if they could do what they thought. It's pretty cool, huh? Because they can get power here, like much easier run several machineries if they could drag it here. And what they would do is that they will try to get themselves access from behind the crevice over there, because right behind there there's a lot of nice trees, and they were hoping to attach a line so they could just fire it down either there. I suspect, I mean, if they wanted to be risky, they'll throw it right down here and hit the rock, but I mean, probably not. But you know, this should be pretty obvious unless you're, again, versed in terrain or you intend to be building up stairways and shit like that. Yeah, so there was a reason they didn't do it in the old days, and these the people are now old folks should have known better, in my opinion. Anyways, so there's an anthill there, actually, I know. Do I sometimes worry if these rocks are going to fall? I mean, you see they're jutting out. I mean, it might happen. If I zoom in here, you can see the ice taps there, which indicate a big risk. I think that rock there is quite likely to be loosening up. Now you may think, screaming, talking loud, everything. No, not so much. There's a lot of road traffic going on. They've been exploding over there, and I'll show you really soon, as soon as I keep plowing my way through this. I've actually seen a fox in there once inside there. He was just hiding there while I was walking during while it was dark. and it was moonlight and starlight, so I actually didn't need a headlamp. I could still walk here because there was snow, but not this thick. So it was like walking on daylight, but with a blue shine on it. And so when I walked inside when I walked, I heard some sound over there. And I turned on the light and looked inside there, and I saw the yellow gleaming eyes of a fox looking right back at me. And then it just scurried away further inside there somehow. I didn't care to follow it because, you know, I don't want to bugger the little bugger. I have no intentions of turning him into a coat. So, they were blowing quite a lot over there. Now, the road I showed you earlier where they could walk up, it's to go up there and you know, have a fantastic view in all directions. But don't you worry, we will have a nice view soon. It's a big mountain. Well, not a big mountain, it's actually just a big rock. And here are the pebbles that fell off it. I think it's so cool. There are trees just growing up. So you got some fir there. I think there was, I remember while it was summer, a small dent over there, but I think that was actually a spruce. But the rest of the ones you see jutting on those that grow the most, they are birch, like that tree. And then that is a willow. That too be a willow. Let's see. I did several things around there. Oh, let me show you the lesions. Lesions. Whatever the fuck you call them. There's a technical term for it. They are the predecessor to moss. I just have to make sure I don't break my leg. Let's see. So, as you're brushing this off, sorry if the camera is not focusing, I'm trying to be... yeah, water's accumulated and frozen. What you usually see here is a lot of... You can kind of see it there, it's like a round pattern, like that. And that's this is a type of lesion that grows on this even less obvious lesion. I think the rest of the lesions, I assume they'd be under that here. It's kind of like this, and then kind of this starts succeeding. There's more of them, and here is one type too. And what happens is that the bigger ones that look a little bit like moss, they're kind of no longer lesions, I think. Yes, they are the lesions. Actually, they're a different type of plant that the reindeer eat. And then eventually, as they die, they create the substrate for the moss to grow even better. This is regular moss. Though moss will often grow on there, you'll see there as well. And you see it has a lot of funky patterns. So I guess I get myself back. Whoopsie daisy. So you see like circular... Hands are so wet, I don't think I should touch the camera too much, but you see that? So you'll see a lot of that over there where I was scraping. Following up there, you see. And yeah, just like cool shit nature makes for the fun of it. Let's see if I can just zoom this back to normal. There you go. Yeah, 28.5 minutes. Will I reach it before 30? Will I reach it before 30 minutes? No, I will not. Here, there is some that has been cut down. There was a tree here. But this is the moose. This too. You'll see like all those little coppice parts with the small little sprouts coming off, their tips being nibbled off, you know, ripped off, literally like this. Then you can be pretty sure that was a moose. I say, I love walking this road even if it's snowy like this because, I mean, do I really need to explain? So there's our new road. This is the old road that I'm walking. So that road you can drive. And there was a lot of explosions and stuff going up there as there were because the road has been upgraded and revamped. It was a lot more curvy, a lot more... You couldn't really see around the turn. So unless you're used to driving these kind of roads, it tend to freak people out. And now they're going to build a new harbor to the village that I'm heading to. And so that, ooh, what we have here? What do we have here? Alright, see if I can feel any heat. Could just be snow falling down and the hole there being a lot bigger, which is one of the reasons you should be careful walking here. But yeah, all those booms and explosions didn't cause any more things to happen over there, so I'm not too concerned. And if it happens, well, I mean, this is my time, it's my time. At least I got to plow some snow for some other folks to be walking through. Ain't this nice? I weaved that one. That was actually more recent because they had cut. Do you see all those copies coming up there? So there was those kind of trees were kind of hanging over and down. So I weaved them so they would hold the arch better. But then they decided, you know, just because reasons, they decided to. Oh, fuck, snow again? Really? One moment, folks, please. Sorry, excuse me. Why is it always the same shoe? Doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe I have a right-wing bias, or the snow has a right-wing bias.